Well, what do you mean? Is my elemental sulfur that I spread with my dry and my fall not cutting it?
I'm going to say I wouldn't recommend doing. All right, welcome back to the Next Generation Ag Services Podcast. I'm Logan.
I am Clay, coming at you today with a little bit of sulfur in corn and soybeans. Logan, kick it off.
So, a lot of people ask about sulfur needs and corn and soybeans and what time, what product, yada, yada. So, I guess what I like to talk is in generalization. So, everybody works with a retailer or maybe they do it themselves, but a lot of time real retailers have their own products that they carry. So, the big thing is the available form of sulfur is sulfate. So if you're going to apply sulfur, you need it to be in the sulfate form to get into the plant. So I like to say you need to get it, apply a sulfate form early in the season, so that way we can get it into the plant. And as you looked at the soil uptake charts, you're going to see that the soil provides a lot of sulfur late in the season. So the needs are early in the season from like an added source of sulfur.
Well, what do you mean? Is my elemental sulfur that I spread with my dry and my fall not cutting it?
I'm going to say I wouldn't recommend doing all elemental, but it is good that you're using the form.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you a little experience that I had. This has been a couple of years ago, but we tried VRT in our sulfur needs, and just because we had a high sulfur history, and this was a corn-on-corn field, and right to the line, you could see it. And the corn was V2, and we only had 20 pounds of sulfur on it. And we've had 20 years of sulfur on the field before. So, I mean, it was an early adopter of applying sulfur. So that's kind of where I was like, nope, we need the sulfur on early in a sulfate form. And so I would recommend if you use a pre-emergent, maybe like an ATS, or if
What's ATS?
Ammonium thiosulfate, so sulfate form. And if you got maybe in your fall spread some ammonium sulfate, so AMS, and some people get nervous about that being out there in the fall, but in our soils, in our area, I don't think we have an issue.
Yeah, so sulfate form early. I don't think we can iterate on this enough. Yeah, ATS is a great product. It has many benefits, particularly if you are already putting down some 32% is kind of a weed and feed's kind of the term. Whether you're doing 32% with your pre 2x2x2, there's a chemical charge relationship that can provide some stability to your nitrate nitrogen when applying ammonium thiosulfate, sulfate early. Just getting that good early crop establishment. We actually had a meeting a couple weeks ago. Beck's regional agronomy manager, John Skinner, compared the role of sulfur as turning your corn and soybean plants into solar panels. So we are finding out the balance between chemical and energy from the sun. Photosynthesis is a big energy driver for our crops. So
I'd like to ask you, so what hybrid or crop would you recommend putting sulfur on?
So don't take this to the bank yet, but here's an interesting trend that we've seen in Beck's Practical Farm Research. We are seeing a higher return on investment with sulfur applied to Corteva-based corn hybrid genetics. So, if you're planting Beck's hybrids, the purple bags or the XL branded ones have a higher return on investment on increasing sulfur, maybe above and beyond your standard practice versus the Bayer traits. So verdict's still out on exactly why that is. It seems as a trend, the Corteva hybrids get a lot more yield late season with depth of kernel, but that's something that we're evaluating and hoping to bring to the farm gate as a recommendation or a proven practice here soon. So stay tuned on more details on why you want to put more sulfur on Corteva hybrids than Bayer products.
Alrighty, thank you.
Logging off. This is the Next Generation Ag Services Podcast.